Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BenchWire. We got a brand new podcast in store for you guys today. We're recapping Week 4. It's a great slate of games last weekend, and once again, I am joined by my co-host Justin. How are we doing today, Justin?
I don't know how to feel anymore. I don't know what love is. I don't know what feelings are. I don't know. That was a rough Sunday. That was a rough week 4.
Yeah, it was a rough Thursday night for me. They,
Yeah.
they kept it close though. It was closer than I expected. But let's get into it. Let's talk about my Giants. First game of the week, Thursday night football. Cowboys traveled to MetLife, and the Giants couldn't take care of the Cowboys yet again, and they have not beat Dak Prescott since his rookie year back in 2016. That is pathetic. I believe Dak's won 13 straight against the Giants when he played them. That can't happen. That just can't happen. They got to figure something out. Malik Neighbors, he looks special. He's our best player on the offensive side of the ball. Daniel Jones, he had a decent game. He was being a game manager. Like, he didn't play an awful game, but there were some throws that he missed out on. And if he hit those throws, that's the difference of us winning the game and losing the game. So there's a lot of deep throws. He cannot throw a deep ball for his life. And that's what's holding us back right now. And it's pathetic to watch. I'm sick and tired of it. Hopefully, we can get something going this week against the Seahawks. I don't know. We don't know if Malik's playing. He's day to day. Defensively, we pretty much held the Cowboys in check the second half. They did get that one touchdown with CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb was not an X factor in that second half, other than that first play he had with that touchdown and burnt Deontay Banks in the safety bit in Tyler Nubin. But other than that, it was a good game. It was close NFC East divisional game. And yeah, the Giants, they weren't awful in that game. And, they're actually playing up to par. And they've been close the last 3 weeks every game. They're always in it to win it, but they just can't find ways to win it other than that Browns week. But other than that, I'll turn over to you how you felt about the game. But yeah, just another sloppy game by the Giants, and they just couldn't get the job done.
It was a mid-off, if I put it nicely. It was a
There
mid-off.
you go. I like
Um,
that.
I don't get it. Like, why do you guys score touchdowns on the road, but whenever you get on MetLife in front of the home crowd, you can't put in a touchdown?
That is a
That
fact.
makes no sense to me. You got the crowd noise. You got to go into a silent count, and the fact that that environment you can score, and when you're home, you can go into a cadence. You could go into even you could go into hard counts if you want to. You have that advantage there, but I don't know. That's interesting. You're right. I've been saying all along, Daniel Jones is holding you back offensively a bit. He's your main reason, and I was surprised because the broadcast, Kirk Herbstreit in particular, was like, "Oh, Daniel Jones is playing pretty good. He looks poised. He looks decisive." I'm like, "Okay, how about the throws down the field? Not so good, right?" I'm like, are we watching the same game? Like, I'm being objective. He's not playing that well. I get it. He can short intermediate. He was okay, but you got to be able to hit the deep ball, and he couldn't. He couldn't
Yeah.
there. It was bad. I was watching with my dad. We were like, "This guy can't throw a deep ball. It's the worst deep." He's like, "He's the worst deep ball throw I ever seen in my life." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
it was pathetic.
it's nuts." I thought Devin Singletary would be more of an impact, but I gotta give credit to Dallas run defense that game. They were better. I and they were better. And the Giants' offensive line has improved. I felt like the run blocking could have been better. They could have maybe opened up some more holes there, especially with their run defense being exposed. There wasn't much running lanes. Maybe be hard on them there. But passing wise, like the pass blocking was good. They have a formidable defensive line. I was pretty impressed with them. They looked good, so that's a positive. But yeah, and Malik looks great. Look great too. He's already looking like a top 10 receiver already in his rookie year. Looking like the best receiver over Marv in the draft right now. But I'm not gonna say he's better already. We gotta see it all play out, everything unfold too. So yeah, I mean, good game. But the big takeaway was the turf, man. Micah goes down. DeMarcus Lawrence goes down. Who else? Someone else went down for the Cowboys. I can't think of. And then Malik at the end. I didn't even think that was like a hard tackle, but he banged his head, obviously. knocks
Yeah,
him out.
big
When
blow.
is the NFL gonna like put their foot on their necks of like the Giants as well as the Jets too, and say we got to do something about this turf. We got to go to grass because the injuries there are ridiculous. So that's
Yeah.
a big takeaway. Like the players shouldn't be playing on it at all. Like they should be doing something there. But I digress. I don't know what's going on there with the turf.
Yeah. Yeah, another unfortunate game for the Giants. The Cowboys get a much needed win to keep their season alive, I would say, but they did get a lot of injuries that could, hinder their season there. Because Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence are going to be out this week against the Steelers, so that's a big blow for their
It
team.
is.
But
Brandon Cooks too.
Brandon Cooks as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of question marks there with that team. Will they win this week? We don't know. We will find out in the predictions video what we think. But let's turn it over to the other NFC East team that, their game wasn't that pretty there Sunday. We'll talk about it. So the Eagles traveled over to Tampa Bay, and they could not win this game. They start out really slow. I believe they had 0 total yards in that first quarter. And I don't know what the score was at the end of the first quarter, but I know like the Bucks had like 200 something yards at the end of the first quarter, and they couldn't really pick up the slack there, and they lost like 30 something to 16, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. I get that AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are out, but Jahan Dotson only having 2 catches, like what's the game plan going into that game? Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni is at fault, I would say, for not getting Jahan Dotson, who you traded a 3rd-round pick for, more involved, and he's supposed to be one of your guys that you can rely on when a Devontae or an AJ Brown goes down. And the only playmakers you really threw to were Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley. Yes, I get that they're the best players left remaining on that offensive side of the ball for playmakers, but you couldn't utilize any of Jahan Dotson or any of the receivers. I know Paris Campbell did have that 1 touchdown. I will say that. Good for him. I know. But other than that, like it was a no-show from those receivers. And they know you're going to use Saquon. They know you're going to use Dallas Goedert. So I was just confused there on the offensive game plan. And then the defense. Oh my God. Mike Evans was open on every fucking play. Him and then Chris Godwin got a lot of catches as well. He didn't get any touchdown production, and then also Rashad White was getting catches out of the backfield, Bucky Irving, all that good stuff. So like it was just a lack of being prepared for that game. They were not prepared at all, and you could tell. And Nick Sirianni, he's got to be on the hot seat. He's got to be on the hot seat. This is a team that's supposed to be a contender and supposed to be competing for the Lombardi Trophy, and it was just a disgrace to watch. And I will turn it over to you to hear your whole thoughts and opinions about that game.
Well, I think we were just blinded by, oh, wow, they got Saquon. Wow, that offense is great. They should be in the Super Bowl. But how he neglected the defensive side, and it showed. There's no talent over there, really. Slay, gosh, he's getting on my nerves with this whole social media antics going on with Micah's, and then they're basically taking a shit on CJ Gardner-Johnson, which I didn't appreciate. You should back up your guy, even there. He is conky. He does talk trash. I know he said we're going to whoop that ass today, something along those lines. And that's just him being competitive. And that's him. If you know it, follow the social media or you're a fan of the Eagles or the Saints or the Lions, anywhere where he was a part of, that's who he is. That's the kind of guy he is. He talks shit and he goes out there and he plays hard. I'll give him that. But yeah, I felt like the team quit. The defensive line, it was over 100 degrees. It felt like tough conditions to play in, but they didn't carry over from the Saints game at all. I felt like the defensive tackles, Carter, Davis, they didn't show up. There was no pressure. Baker had all day to throw. And then again, Fangio was a little bit soft on his coverages. He's laying off of them. And then hence what you just said. Evans was open. Even Kate Otten was getting targets. Everyone was getting targeted and picking us apart. And it was crazy. And also the tackling is really bad. We're the worst tackling team in NFL by far. It's not even close. Avonte Maddox had a clean tackle. It should have been an easy tackle on Godwin, and he dove like right past him, didn't even touch him. And Godwin, I think, took that for a first down. I'm like, come on, are you serious? But yeah, it's 21-0. We got down in a hole. But those first 3 drives were really bad. And I think Sirianni has is calling some of the plays too. He has a lot of influence, I'll say, in those plays. But for 7 of those 9 plays, right, 3 and out straight, 7 of them are passes. They didn't. You're out with AJ Brown. There's no AJ Brown. There's no Devontae Smith. Your right tackle's not even there too. So you don't have enough time to throw in the first place. So you need to pound the ball, and it took them almost a half to realize, oh, we got Saquon Barkley in the backfield. It's not Kenny Gainwell or DeAndre Swift anymore. We got a top 5 back in the league that we're not using. So it took them a while, and then they broke off that run to start the third. I'm like, okay, maybe we could get something going, but nothing ever materialized. The play calling was awful. You're right. Sirianni, what is on the hot seat? I thought he should have been fired last year. If you tuned in the BenchWire at the end of last year, I thought he shouldn't have carried over. But yeah, the mistakes from 2023, they really are carrying over, and he's the problem. I see a divided locker room. I don't see leadership there. No one's really responding to his coaching. Jalen Hurts if you watch the game, he completely ignores him. He walks by him. He doesn't even respect the guy. He doesn't even care about his coaching or input. So yeah, it's bad. It is a bad scene, and I think it's just a matter of time before he gets out. And honestly, he might get fired before the end of the year, and Fangio or Kellen Moore gets promoted. It could very well happen. So yeah, the NFC East is looking more and more like it's the Commanders to lose.
I don't know about that, but they have looked hot as of late. But the Eagles, they do get a much needed bye week here. Get healthy, get Lane Johnson back, AJ Brown, hopefully, and Davante for their next game. I believe they play in London next time around, correct?
They play Cleveland at home. We don't have a London game this year.
Oh, okay. I don't know where I heard that information. But yeah, so that should be a get right game for them. The Browns haven't looked good as of late. And the Giants beat them, for God's sake. So I think you could win that game. It'll be a good get-right game for the Eagles, and the season will be back alive. So I think they'll win that game. But let's turn it over. Let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about a real contender in the Detroit Lions. Man, oh man, did they look good on Monday Night Football, man. They got the job done. Jared Goff didn't throw a single incompletion. He was 18 for 18, 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards. The offense was humming. Jahmyr Gibbs was going off. David Montgomery could not be taken down. That offense looked awesome, and they look like a Super Bowl contender. I have them as my favorite to win the Super Bowl and get the job done, and it was a good showing from them Monday night. And yeah, excited to watch them more this season, and hopefully they can get the job done and be in that Super Bowl. Wanted to hear your thoughts about that game.
Yeah, I caught most of that game. It was high-powered offense. They took advantage. The Seattle defense, I didn't realize their defensive line was pretty banged up. So you have I know they're down Frank Ragnow, their center, but that offensive line held up nicely. Clean pockets for Goff all night to really hit his targets. And you got to give credit to Ben Johnson, one of the best scheme guys, play callers. They did Amon-Ra got involved in the pass game, threw one to Goff. That was a cool play after doing a little hook and ladder play the previous week. He's just so creative, man. They got probably the best offense in the NFL, just how creative they are, the personnel they have. They have Jameson Williams, who's finally healthy. He's getting the ball now. And you're barely even targeting Sam Laporta, who was the top fantasy tight end last year, top 3 tight end. Everyone was saying coming into this year. And he's not really getting the end zone looks or the production there. And it's crazy. And I didn't even mention the running backs. I didn't even mention the 2-headed monster, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. It's a loaded offensive room. It's loaded. And I got to tip my cap to the defense, too. Their pass defense isn't the best. They did get a lot of points put up to them, right? So Seattle put up 27, so that's a good amount of points. I got to give respect there. But their run defense is top 3. It's top 5 in the NFL. They shut down Kenneth Walker. They've been shutting down the run really well. They did that to James Conner the week prior. They have like one of the best run defense in the NFL. And before I turn it back to you, Aiden Hutchinson, he's in that Defensive Player of the Year conversation too. He wrecks games. He's in the quarterback's face all the time. I never see him anywhere else but terrorizing the tackles, getting into the quarterback's face, making it really, really tough. So the choice of force, I have them winning the NFC and being in the Super Bowl too. So we're both very high on them.
Yeah. I just don't know how the Jags passed up on Aiden Hutchinson and took Trayvon Walker. I have not heard Trayvon
Yeah.
Walker's name at all this year. And I know the Jags stink, but like you would think I would hear his name just a little bit. He's still killing it. Nope. Aiden Hutchinson should have been the number 1 overall pick, and the Jags sold on that draft class.
That's why I don't pick off a combine.
Yeah, you never pick off a combine.
Yeah.
You got to pick the clear-cut
happened.
favorite. Yeah, that's the stupidest thing ever, to pick off a combine. Like, if you know there's a generational talent, you got to take that man, and you got to draft him. And it was just silly that they passed on him.
Sam Laporta, too, in the past couple of years. Jack Campbell, their linebacker. Jameer Gibbs. Like, guys that we laughed at, like, why did they take him? Well, Brad Holmes, he's looking like a top 5 general manager. He's a great talent evaluator. He knows how to get – Terrion Arnold this year looks pretty decent also. So he knows how to get talent, knows talent coming out, knows, like, players in the NFL to target to get. He knows how to get talent in there, and it becomes easier on the coaches if they know how to play. And it just becomes a little chess game of how you utilize them. So, yeah, I got to give credit to the GM, too. He's putting a hell of a roster together.
Yeah. Lines are looking good. They're looking like a Super Bowl favorite right now, so we did pretty good there. But let's talk about the best team in the NFL. So who do you think, Justin's the best team? And we'll talk about who I have at the moment. I don't know if anyone saw Twitter or X. I did post my coffee morning shit week 4 power ranking, so we'll talk about what I think, but I want to see what Justin thinks at the moment. Who's his best team right now in the NFL after 4 weeks?
Yeah, so I did see that. I liked it. They're definitely in consideration for me. The quarterback's been playing well, exceeding expectations. I'll let you get into all that. And the head coach for that team is Coach of the Year favorite, in my opinion, right now. Man, the top team in the league. It's tough. I think they're coming alive. So it's tough to say who's. I'm a believer of it's not how it starts, it's how he finishes. So I'm just going off of the last couple weeks, and I think the Ravens will be a team, will be a force coming up too. So the defense, Josh Allen is playing like the MVP in my opinion, and they shut him down. They made it really tough to get him involved. Great defensive scheme there. So Mike McDonald obviously went to Seattle, so it took a little bit for them to get on the same page, but they did almost beat the Chiefs. You gotta point that out. Yes, the blowing of leads was bad. The Raiders, they should have won. They should be sitting here 3-1, but they had a nice win with the Cowboys. They had a nice win there. They held on to win that. Good win, but this one put the cherry on top for me. Lamar Jackson, Tom Unkin is now did not know how to utilize Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is becoming a big difference maker for him. You can do a lot of read options. You got to respect Lamar Jackson's running ability. You got to respect Derrick Henry's running ability. They run different ways as well. And this without even saying, like, Mark Andrews is not really involved too. And
He's
the Bills
been a
defense
major
been playing,
disappointment for fantasy owners.
and the Bills play a good defense, and they were putting up points. They were running the ball all over them. It was insane. It was nuts. And Lamar looks really good, really comfortable in the pocket. He looks well on time throws. They're a force. They're going to be back in the conversation, I think. And yeah, the Ravens look good, man. I think that's my pick.
I like that pick. Yeah, because they start out slow, 0-2, but yeah, they're looking good as of late. 2-2 now, and yeah, they beat the Bills, and I didn't expect that. And they got the job done, and proved all the doubters wrong, and that they're a team to be reckoned with. So I like that pick. Right now, if you saw my power rankings at today, I do think the Vikings have looked like the best team in the NFL from who they played, just offensively and defensively. They've just looked like a complete team, and you got to give credit to Kevin O'Connell. Sam Darnold, actually looking pretty good. He's looking pretty darn good, beating the Niners, beating the Packers. Who else did I know they beat the Giants. Who was the other team? The
It'd be
Texans?
Giants, Packers, 49ers, Texans. Yeah.
Texans. So, they pretty much beat three teams that we believe are solid teams that are going to be in the playoffs. That they did it. They did that, and they beat the Giants week 1. And that was the Giants' only game that's been a blowout. Giants have been close with every other team, but they blew out the Giants. And I know that was week 1, and Daniel Jones had looked so hot in that game. But other than that, the Vikings are rolling, and they're looking like a complete team. And, yeah, really excited for them. And they should be. Now they have probably a quarterback dilemma maybe in the future with J.J. McCarthy there and Sam Darnold. Do you sign him if he keeps this up and, goes on a playoff run and wins you a few playoff games? Do you re-sign him? What's that going to look like? Or does he get a big payday from a different team? So that's a good problem to have. And Kevin O'Connell, got to give him a lot of credit. I wasn't as high as you were on Kevin O'Connell, but I see why you like him and what he
He can
does with all
coach.
these quarterbacks. Yeah, he can coach. He can get the job done. And yeah, it's exciting to watch. And then beating all these teams is the reason why I have them as the best team at the moment. And then my other two teams that I have right up there, if you saw the power rankings, go check it out. It's on Twitter, and I'll have that link tree down below. But also we have the Chiefs. I had Chiefs as a second team because they're the Chiefs. Andy Reid, got to respect them and all that. I know they lost Rashee Rice, but I still feel like the Chiefs, they're always up there. Maybe they make a move now, make a splash for a receiver, depending on how long Rashee Rice is going to be out. He's still got to get another MRI test done because they don't know the severity with it yet. And then the Lions. I think those three are in the conversation right now for the best three teams from what I've seen, the competition that they played, and finding ways to win the way that they win. I think those three right now, after week 4, the best teams from what I've seen this season. But yeah, the Ravens, I think they'll be in that conversation along with the Bills, the Texans, all those teams. But those are the three teams that right now are in that conversation for me. And you can check out that whole list there on Twitter. But let's turn it over to the next topic. And this is a big topic. I don't know how long we'll talk about this because we're running short on time. But Davante Adams has officially requested a trade from Las Vegas. And, we kind of saw this written on the wall there. And we believe that this wasn't going to last long because they have that quarterback situation there. And Davante doesn't want to play with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. He wants to play for a contender. He wants to play for a winner. And he's tired of, wasting his career, his last few years in his prime with the Raiders. And he wants to go to a contender, maybe a Jets, maybe play with the Saints and Derek Carr. Maybe they trade in division, go to Chiefs. I don't know. Where do you think Davante Adams will land?
Where do I think? Well, I would love, personally, I would love for him to end up in Baltimore, give Lamar a true elite number 1 receiver.
That would be fun.
I think that would be awesome. I think that would be fun. The Bills would be also a kind of fun landing spot too. Him and with Josh Allen would be fun. I could see that. I know. So it's not as much as a players league as the NBA, for instance. If Kevin Durant were to ask God and says, "Oh, I want to go to these two teams," more likely he's going to go to one of those two teams. And the two teams he wants to go to are where his quarterback friends are: Aaron Rodgers with the Jets and Derek Carr with the Saints. If you put a gun to my head, Steve, and say, "Who do you think he's going to?" I would say the New York Jets. Why? Because I believe they have a disgruntled Hassan Reddick that they need to get rid of too. So who's to say someone won't take him? So you could do a little 3-team trade where they get Davante, you can figure out compensation, you could move Hassan Reddick somewhere else, and you could figure out a three-team trade and make everyone happy, make everyone win. So from that standpoint, I think it makes sense. You got another top touted guy that wants to get traded, and you got another one, and the receiver wants to play with Aaron Rodgers again. And as you can see, that Rodgers did get frustrated in that Denver game with his
I did
receivers
see that.
also. So getting that guy he has chemistry with, that they can look at each other and say, okay, do this, we need a field goal. That would be big for the Jets, I think, and Aaron Rodgers, and put him back in that contention for the AFC's crown that I have him winning. So that would be my pick because of Hassan Reddick, and moving it around makes more sense that way for me. So I would say most likely it's the Jets.
Yeah. If I had to agree, this is a part where I agree. I think the Jets are the clear-cut landing spot for Davante Adams. I think that just makes the most sense. His familiarity there with Aaron Rodgers and the connection that they have. And yeah, the Jets want to go all in and win a Super Bowl. They would have to get a guy like Davante Adams to add to this offense that hasn't been that great so far to start the year. Like I said, I told you they need offensive line help. The offensive line, signing those two guys, that was a Band-Aid fix. I knew it wasn't going to last. And Morgan Moses already hurt, and they're dealing with Olu Fashanu from Penn State. He hasn't been the greatest to start out his rookie career, but that's usually how it goes with every offensive lineman. I think he'll pick it back up, give him some time. But if you want some firepower on that offense and a guy to throw to so Aaron Rodgers could get the ball out, I think Davante Adams will add a lot to that offense and take a lot of pressure off of the Jets and, give them, enough firepower to score some points and beat a team like the Broncos. So, yeah, I feel like that makes the most sense. Another team I do like, and I feel like they could do it, is the Buffalo Bills. I feel like they can get the job done. They can work away and free up some cap space there and make something happen if they want to, be able to compete with the Chiefs. I feel like they would make this trade, even though they're looking really good right now, even though they just lost to the Ravens. I feel like this will help them compete with the Chiefs and be a top dog. And I feel like they know that they don't want to waste this Super Bowl window that they have right now. So I feel like those are the two teams, the Jets and the Bills. Funny that it's in the same division as well. So whoever, makes the best offer is honestly going to get Davante Adams. But I do think he will end up with the Jets because it just makes the most sense. And yeah, I totally agree with you. But let's transition over to our last topic of the day, and that is, are the Chiefs now done? Are they now written off since they lost their number one option on this offense, Rashee Rice, for what it looks like the end of the season here, the whole season? Rashee Rice looks like a torn ACL from initial reports. They're still getting an MRI done. But yeah, do you think the Chiefs are done? Is it their season over?
As long as they got the refs on their side, no. The refs will give them every game. Nah.
Got a point. Got a point. They've been winning with them.
No, they look. The NFL likes a big bad, and they're making the Chiefs that. So they'll have the refs help them out here and there. Just say, "Oh, get America hating the Chiefs again," No, their season's not done. They're 4-0. They're fine. They're in a weak AFC West. They'll win the division. They're fine. That just means more targets for Xavier Worthy. But I will say this: I saw a social media video. It's like a local news for the Chiefs. The guy was talking about he was sitting within proximity of Brett Veach, the general manager, and there was a play in the game where Patrick Mahomes threw a pass in the flat to Sky Moore, and Sky Moore completely dropped it. And he said, "You heard Brett Veach just yell like fuck," and he slammed this thing on. He slammed his fist on the table, and he's pissed off about the receiver room outside of Rashee Rice. So his point was he's going to make a move for receiver. He's going to try to upgrade there. So you could add Davante Adams back into that conversation for the Chiefs. They could figure out a way. That would
feel
suck.
like they can be in the fold, but it's hard because they're a divisional opponent there. I would say a guy to look out for is Amari Cooper. I feel like he might be on his way out because, he's not due that much money. He won't take up that much cap space. I feel like that's a guy that they can get in there and make something happen to,
Mm.
try and three-peat. I feel like Amari Cooper will be on the trade block, especially if this season's in the dumps for the Browns. And it looks like it is yet again, because they just have another slow start to the season. But yeah, I don't think the Chiefs are done. They're not done.
Yeah.
They're 4-0. They'll be fine. They'll win a division. They'll get the job done. It just sucks. Rashee Rice was on a great start to the season, and now they lost their best option. Now we got to see guys like Travis Kelce step it up. Hasn't had a great start to the year, but he is 35. So, I don't expect him to be that 1,000-yard tight end that he once was, but I expect him to pick up some slack and be that guy, that safety blanket for Patrick Mahomes there. But other than that, I think we can end off this podcast. Any final thoughts before we end off this episode today?
What if Tyreek Hill found his way back to Kansas City?
Okay, that would be interesting.
What if he did?
Yeah, I did see. I did see.
He did tweet something out today. It was like, "Oh, woke up the trade news." I'm like, "What?"
I feel like there might be a little quarterback situation he was. I don't feel like it's him on his way out. There's no way. He just got paid. He just got the bag. There's no way he's leaving Miami.
It'd be tough.
What I think from that report, I think they're going after a quarterback. And if I had to pick a quarterback that would be available right now, it would be Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson might want to demand a trade and go to Miami and, right the ship there, especially if Tua doesn't come back. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's my first initial thought on that. So that's what I think.
Never say never, but I'll say this real quick. Mike McDaniel's got to do a better job with the offense. I know you're starting quarterbacks hurting you generally, or like, oh, the offense takes a hit, but you're touted as like this great offensive mind, way you scheme guys open, get the ball into your playmakers. Where is all that? Why can't you get Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and all these guys the ball? Like, they're still there. Just make it easy. Don't make it complex.
Yeah.
It's completely different. They look like the worst offense in the NFL without Tua.
I know. I don't know what it is. I guess Tyler Huntley's not the guy, but it's only his first game. Still got to learn the offense. It takes time to adjust. Just learning a whole new playbook in a matter of days here. But I think the Dolphins, they'll pick it up. They'll figure a way to, get this thing back up and rolling. I don't know if they'll be a playoff team, but they'll be competing for a wild card spot. I feel like they're not going to win a division anymore. I think that's over with and done with. So we'll see what happens. I want to see some more Tyreek Hill magic. I got him on my fantasy team, and they just don't have a quarterback that can throw it over the top there, which is kind of concerning at the moment. So hopefully they figure that out, because that is hurting me and my fantasy team. But yeah.
Same, man.
So we can end off the episode there. If you guys want to see more BenchWire content on this channel, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We would really appreciate it. And yeah, go follow our socials. Go see our Twitter. You'll see my coffee morning shit rankings tier list for power rankings. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later. BenchWire
out.